ねえ、外見て。雨がザーザー降ってるよ。
雷もゴロゴロ鳴ってる。ハラハラする。
え、どうしたの？大丈夫？
天気が悪くなると頭がクラクラするんだ。
ちょっと休んだら？
うん、そうする。
Welcome to Learn Japanese Pod, the podcast that helps you to improve your fluency and sound more like a native speaker. And we also talk about anything and everything to do with Japan, its culture and people, and anything else we randomly feel like talking about. And as always, I am joined by the amazing Ami Sensei.
こんにちは。どうも。
Hey, Ami Sensei, how have you been?
元気です。Great, thank you.
元気ですか？
Hi, and you?
とってもいいです。とってもいいです。とっても元気です。
イエーイ。
よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
皆さんのために一生懸命頑張りたいと思います。
思います。
Now, don't forget you can come and chat to us and other Learn Japanese Pod listeners on our online community on our Discord channel. Now, if you didn't know, Discord is an app that allows you to chat via text, audio, or video. So it's a great way to practice your Japanese and ask any questions you have about learning the language and the podcast. And just, it's great for hanging out with other listeners too. So definitely come and join us. To join, just go to the main website at learnjapanesepod.com and click on the Discord link at the top of the page, and we will see you on the other side. Now, turning to today's podcast, Ami Sensei,
はい。
could you tell us what today's topic is all about, please?
OK です。The main theme of today's podcast is daily Japanese onomatopoeia, which I'll explain in a little more detail later. After that, we'll have a non-scripted conversation in Japanese to allow you to practice your listening. And finally, we'll teach you the random phrase of the week, which is an interesting or funny Japanese phrase picked at random to surprise and amaze your Japanese friends. But more of that later.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, on to today's topic. Ami Sensei, what are Japanese onomatopoeia and
Yes.
why on earth should you learn them?
Right. Good question. Now, if you didn't know, onomatopoeia are words that resemble sounds. Some examples in English are words such as splash, bang, zap, and beep. And Japanese is no exception. Onomatopoeia are called gyongo in Japanese. And the word gyongo itself is comprised of 3 kanji. So I'll break it down for you. Gi means to imitate something. On means sound. And go means word or language, as in Nihongo. Now, Alex, you asked, why on earth should we learn gyongo?
Exactly. Why Ami Sensei?
Okay, let me tell you. So one interesting thing you'll notice about gyongo is there's a huge, and I mean a really huge number of them in Japanese. It's really common to hear gyongo used all the time in daily conversation. So that's why it's worth trying to learn at least a few of these words. And using gyongo will make you sound more natural in Japanese. And one thing you should keep in mind is that there are so many gyongo in Japanese, it would be impossible to teach even 1% of them in this podcast. And some people can feel a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of them. However, the best way to learn gyongo is through being repeatedly exposed to them through daily conversation and getting as much Japanese input as you can. So, don't worry if you don't immediately remember this vocabulary. If you keep practicing your Japanese, you'll eventually start to pick it up naturally. So talking of learning gyongo by listening to daily conversation, listen again to the conversation you heard at the beginning of the podcast and see how much you can understand. Then we'll break it down for you afterwards.
ねえ、外見て。雨がザーザー降ってるよ。
雷もゴロゴロ鳴ってる。ハラハラする。
え、どうしたの？大丈夫？
天気が悪くなると頭がクラクラするんだ。
ちょっと休んだら？
そうする.
So everyone, did that make sense? How much did you understand? And did you recognize the gyongo in the conversation? So, Ami Sensei, what was the first sentence?
The first line was, ねえ、外見て、雨がザーザー降っているよ. So here we've got ね at the beginning. ね. It's like, hey, 外見て, look outside. 外 outside, 見て, look. 雨がザーザー降っているよ. 雨 is rain, and が points to the object, the particle that points to 雨. 雨がザーザー降ってるよ. So here we've got ザーザー, our very first onomatopoeia. ザーザー. Guys hear that? It's like the sound of the rain.
I like the mimicry there. Very good. It sounded very rainy. Yes.
Yes, it's raining and it's 降ってるよ. So it's rain is falling. 降ってる. 雨がザーザー降ってるよ.
外見て、雨がザーザー降ってるよ. Hey, look outside. It's pouring down. Or you know, it's I don't know what it, not pitter patter, is it? It's like really
It's not pitter patter.
Yeah, it's chucking it down. And then what was the next sentence?
I like that, chucking it down.
It's chucking it down. Raining cats and dogs. That's another one.
Exactly.
By the way, I feel sorry for Japanese people who are learning English. It's chucking it down, innit? Or it's raining cats and dogs. Why is it raining cats and dogs? It's a long story.
It is.
Anyway.
More of that later. No, just kidding.
More of that later.
Yeah. 雷もゴロゴロ鳴ってる. ハラハラする. So, 雷 is thunder. も also ゴロゴロ鳴ってる. So there's that second onomatopoeia. ゴロゴロ. It's like, I guess, rumbling, right? It's like the sound of the thunder. ゴロゴロ、ゴロゴロ。鳴ってる. Sounding. 雷もゴロゴロ鳴ってる. ハラハラする. And there's another onomatopoeia. ハラハラする is like, なんだろう. Nervous, anxious. Yeah.
So I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yes.
We're seeing the onomatopoeia followed by a verb, right? So ザーザー降ってる.
Yes.
So it's raining ザーザー. It's pouring down. And then ゴロゴロ鳴ってる. So ゴロゴロ grumbling and 鳴ってる is the verb to make a sound. Oh. Talking of which, outside it's now gata gata.
Is it?
Someone's can you hear it? Maybe not.
No. What's going on?
Anyway, so someone was so okay, here's a question. If someone is dumping a bunch of glass into a skip, what would that sound be? It's like gata gata.
Sure. Or gacha gacha.
Oh, I can hear the train in the background. What would that be?
Popo.
Popo. This is amazing. This is a
Miraculous.
Do you remember years ago when they did audio tours on podcasts? It would be some guy just walking around recording sounds.
Oh, really?
Do you remember those?
No, I don't think so. I probably wasn't listening to any.
Dear listener, you can tell the difference in age. Anne is much younger than me.
Not that much. Not that much.
So hang on. So kaminari mo goro goro natteru. So it's the thunder is not grumbling. What would you say? It's
yeah, I guess like it's rumbling, right?
It's rumbling. Yeah. Thank you. So my name's Alex. I can't remember English anymore. And then hara hara suru is like it's some kind of feeling nervous.
Nervous, yeah, thrill.
And then this is all a bit of a terrifying occurrence. And so then
どうしたの? 大丈夫? So like, huh? Like what? どうしたの? What's wrong? 大丈夫? Are you okay?
And that's super common, right? どうしたの? What's the matter? What happened? 大丈夫? You okay? Very, very, very common phrases.
Yeah.
And what's the problem?
天気が悪くなると頭がクラクラするんだ. Ooh, that's a long sentence. 天気 is weather, the weather, ga, there's that particle again pointing to the object in front of it. Waruku naru to, when it gets bad. So it's talking about the weather. When the weather gets bad, atama ga, my head, is or becomes kurakura surunda. So there's another one, kurakura. It's like dizzy maybe, or like the feeling of dizziness. Surunda. It does.
Yeah, right. So just a quick grammar breakdown. Tenki ga waruku naru to. So tenki is weather, as you said. Ga points to usually the object, or sorry, the subject that's doing an action. So tenki ga waruku naru to. Waruku, bad. Naru, become. To, when. So when the weather gets bad, atama ga, my head. Kurakura surunda, kurakura, dizzy. Now, surunda is, I was thinking about why we say surunda and not suru. So you could just say suru, but Ami Sensei, correct me if I'm wrong. This comes from suru no des, right?
Right.
So
Correct.
This is just a construction where normally you finish a verb with suru, to do, and then no des. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the nuance here that you're explaining something, you're giving a reason for something?
Exactly.
That's what the nuance is. So it's atama ga kurakura suru means my head gets dizzy or I get dizzy, but atama ga kurakura surunda, it's because my head gets dizzy. This is why I'm explaining it to you. Now, instead of saying suru no des, we just shorten this to surunda. So the not changes to n and the des changes to da. Bit of a long-winded grammatical explanation, but just learn it like that. And you should sound more natural. So obviously this person is kind of freaked out by the weather and is feeling a bit...
Poor thing.
Feeling a bit poorly, right?
Yeah.
And so the advice is...
ちょっと休んだら ちょっと a little 休んだら take a break or take a rest. So why don't you rest a little?
Yeah, and so like the nuance you have here is ちょっと, just a little. 休んだら, that actual verb is a conditional if you rest. And in English, I mean, we wouldn't exactly say this, but if you translated it directly, was a little if you rested, which obviously means how about...
Yeah, why don't you rest a little?
Why don't you take a rest? Yeah. And then what happens next?
そうする. Okay, そうする. I'll do that. That's what I'll do.
That's what I'll do. So my advice to you is listen to the dialogue again. We do actually provide an extra audio file where it's just got the Japanese dialogues, and you can listen to them and repeat them out loud. And the more times you listen to them and the more times you repeat them, I think the more it'll stick. And these little natural phrases like surunda and yasundara, so suru, they'll become more natural and more easy for you to use in your own conversation in Japanese. So definitely have a listen and practice with that. Now, Ami Sensei,
Hi.
Tell us more.
Okay, I'll teach you about Gihongo then. Now, if you're paying attention, you might have noticed something a little strange about the Gihongo in today's conversation or dialogue. As I mentioned, Gihongo are words that sound like the sounds they are describing. So, za za is the sound of falling rain. Goro goro is the sound of thunder. However, kurakura, which means dizzy, is not really a sound. And this is called gitaigo, which refers to words that represent a condition or state, but not sounds. And both Gihongo and Gitaigo are considered to be different types of onomatopoeia. Don't worry too much about the distinction here. The thing to remember is you'll hear a lot of Gitaigo and Gihongo in conversation in Japanese, so learn them both. They are similar in that they both have pairs of repeating sounds. For example, goro goro, pika pika, doki doki, and etc. Now, this isn't always the case, as we'll explain later, but these pairs of repeating sounds are very common. Again, there are so many of these, we couldn't fit them into one podcast. So let's just dive into some examples of Japanese onomatopoeia and try to remember the ones that sound most interesting or useful to you. Okay? So here are some Gyongo for basic sounds. Goro goro suru, gata gata suru, kacha kacha suru.
Okay, so I've got a question. So goro goro, we've already studied that. That means like rumbling. Can you also use that for your stomach? Goro goro shiteru.
Goro goro, natteru, maybe. Or yutteru.
Maybe. Or and there's another one. Is that, do cats go goro goro when they're purring?
Oh.
Or is it, oh no, it's guru guru. Is it guru guru?
Onaka ga guru guru.
Onaka ga guru guru.
Yeah.
What about neko? When
Neko.
like cats are purring, how do you say that? Is there a gyongo for that?
There probably is, but not really.
Sure. Hey everyone, write in and teach us. We can't remember what it is.
I just know nya. But probably, you know what? I bet you're right. Goro goro.
I think it's goro goro. I might be wrong. Feel free to post the correct answer in the comments underneath this podcast later on. We will find out later.
Yeah.
What does gata gata mean?
Gata gata is like when the train maybe is moving along the train tracks, anything like going over something bumpy, right?
Right.
Or any surface if you're describing a surface that's bumpy. So it could be
Right.
it could be a sound, like the actual sound, or it could be a bumpy surface.
Right. And then kacha kacha, what's that?
Kacha kacha is like click click. It's like a click sound.
Oh, okay. Right,
Yeah.
right. That's good.
Right. And then we've got like koro koro. It's like the sound of something like rolling. Like koro 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 koro. Yeah, and you can repeat it like koro 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 koro.
Goro, goro, goro.
Uh-huh. And then like potong. Potong
Potong.
is like the sound of something falling or like dropping. So maybe like a ball, you rolled the ball koro 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 off on the table, and then it fell off the table, potong, like drop, like plump.
Right.
And then pong. So pong is actually a common one, and it could mean a lot of things. It could mean like when you're throwing, maybe you're actually throwing a ball now, pong. Or even if you maybe you hit something, pong.
Right. Maybe playing baseball or something.
Yeah, I mean like or just hitting like with your hand, like if you hit the table, like pong or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then gacha. So gacha is pretty similar to kacha, but it's like it's more of like a stronger sound or like a firmer sound.
Right.
Yeah, maybe you lock the door or something, right? Gacha. Or open the door. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds like a car door closing or something,
Sure.
or locking, right?
Yeah, and then shoop. That's a good one. So it's a pretty like short, like swift sound, and it could again mean a lot of different things. Maybe the sound of like maybe in a manga or anime, it's like shh, like somebody pulling out their sword, like shoo.
Right. Yeah, like something's moving swiftly
Really
through
swiftly,
the air,
yeah.
isn't it?
Maybe like you're throwing darts. Shoo.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then,
right.
and then kang. So that could be a sound of a baseball, right? Like when you hit a baseball, kang, something maybe a metallic sound usually, or usually a high pitched sound.
That sounds like someone playing baseball with an aluminium bat.
Hi.
Or as our American brothers and sisters would say, aluminum.
Aluminum, yes. Right, not a wooden one. But it's, it could be a wooden bat, I think. It's, it's that high-pitched sound. So it could be Yeah, it could be either, I guess.
Ami Sensei, I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but I love your onomatopoeia.
ありがとうございます。よく言われます。
Yoku yoremasu. So before we were talking about, obviously the word onomatopoeia in English means it refers to sounds that it refers to words that resemble sounds. But as we were saying before, for example, when we're talking about emotional states,
はい。
that those aren't exactly sounds, I guess, unless you're crying or something. But so what are some kind of words related to your emotional state?
So this one was in the dialogue. クラクラ。頭がクラクラする. So
you're dizzy,
yeah,
right?
the state of dizziness. And then イライラする. イライラ.
I use that all the time.
Uh-oh.
Because 気が短いからアレクソいつもイライラする. So イライラ, yeah, this means annoyed. Or
frustrated.
Frustrated, yeah, イライラする. Yeah, no, yes, unfortunately, I use that all the time. There you go. That's Tokyo life for you. This next one I've got on our list is absolutely hilarious. This one always makes me laugh. プンプンする.
Yeah, it's cute, right?
How would you describe this word?
So I guess it would be sort of what might happen after you イライラする. Like
oh yeah, right.
イライラ.
Yeah.
イライラ and then your イライラ maxes out and then you're
And then you switch into pum pum mode. So it's basically like sulking, right? You're like you kind of like a sulking or sad face, right?
No, actually it's like you're angry. Like pum pum. Yeah, but in a cute way.
Right. So it's actually more angry than sulking. So sulking is more passive,
like
isn't it?
Yeah,
but pum pum suru. So it's but it's kind of like you're saying, in a more of a cute way, isn't it? Pum pum suru.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we have waku waku suru.
Yeah, waku waku. Excited.
Yeah, you hear that a lot actually, waku waku suru. I think there's lots of TV programs that have like waku waku in the title.
For
and
sure.
And then if you're, I don't know how you describe this one, doki doki suru.
That's a great one. Doki doki. Now, doki doki could be, so it's a sound of, basically it's like the sound of your heartbeat, right? And it's, your heart is racing. And it could be racing because you're nervous, but you could also be excited.
Right.
So, doki doki. Doki doki suru.
Doki doki suru. So kind of excited, right?
Yeah, excited, but you could also be, if you're nervous, like, oh, I have a show tomorrow. I'm nervous. Doki doki suru.
We also talked about gitaigo, which are Japanese onomatopoeia, which describe how something feels or the condition or state it's in. So do you have some of those?
はい、あります。ピカピカ。ピカピカ。
頭テカテカ、咲いてピカピカ。
Hey!
何どうしたん？
それがどうした僕ドラえもん。
バンバダダダダダ。
未来の世界の猫が取ろうと。Oh yeah, I know it.
We should just spend the rest of the podcast singing random kids anime
songs.
But I don't have the bravery to do that. So pika pika means, okay, I'm going to try this. Does it mean shiny?
Yes, absolutely.
Got it. That's it, right?
Yeah. And that's why Pikachu goes pika pika.
Because he's kind of
His
shiny.
Lightning. Well, the lightning that he
The lightning
emits,
is shiny, right?
Yeah, pika pika. Yeah.
Got you. Okay, what's another one?
Gocha gocha. Sort of like messy or like or crowded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it could be like gocha gocha shiteru, like a crowd that's like it's like crowded or maybe like your desk is, all crowded full of stuff. So sort of like the state of being crowded.
Got it.
Naruhodo. You probably know this one, Alex-san. Mochi mochi.
So Okay, I think I know what this means. Mochi mochi is like actual mochi, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know, what would you call it? Like squidgy?
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like something that,
Squishy or
yeah, you can like squeeze in your
like
hands.
baby cheeks.
Like baby cheeks.
are mochi mochi.
Like soft and squidgy, like baby cheeks, right?
Mhm,
Got it. I mean, and maybe you can use it for food, like
Of course.
the consistency of maybe like a cake
Mhm.
or eating mochi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fua fua.
Fua fua, I think I know what this means. Does it mean fluffy?
Yes, absolutely.
Got it.
So like a fluffy bread, like a hot fluffy bread, fua fua, or
Fua
even
fua.
like a fluffy pillow, fua fua na makura.
Could you have like fua fua cupcake?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, so like the consistency is very kind of fluffy, kind of.
Yes.
Right.
And then sube sube.
So I think I know this one. I think this means smooth, right?
Smooth. Yep. Like your skin.
Yeah, like skin or something smooth to the touch. And this is kind of easy to remember because I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think sube probably comes from suberu.
I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's like
there's probably a connection.
Smooth, like, yeah, that you can slide off of.
Right.
Mhm. And we use it mostly to meet, like, to talk about skin.
Oh, okay. So I bet that the word sube is used a lot in products like skincare products, right?
Yes, commercials for skincare
Commercials.
products. お肌すべすべ。
お肌すべすべ。
あなたもお肌すべすべ。I'm gonna buy that. Yeah, exactly.
We hope that by listening to this podcast, all of you become fluent in Japanese. And how would you say that, Ami Sensei?
ペラペラ。
Pera pera. Yeah. So pera pera means fluent.
Right. So funny. I know.
So how would you use that in a sentence?
You could say 彼女は日本語がペラペラだ. She is fluent in Japanese. And I think it comes from the like the movement of your tongue, like pera pera. So like, you know, like a smooth tongue, like you're good at talking real quick and all that with that language. So I think that's where it comes from, pera pera.
Do you think the sound pera pera comes from perotto?
Yeah, they're very, very similar, basically.
Yeah,
so they're both like the tongue, the sound of your tongue.
The sound of your tongue.
The state of the tongue moving. So
yeah, so it's that's very common. That's a, you know, Nihongo pera pera. So they'll say, oh wow, your Japanese is amazing. And that's literally the first day you've been in Japan, and the only thing you can say is konnichiwa. Japanese are very appreciative of people who attempt learning their beautiful language. But there you go. And then this last one here is one that maybe a kid would say. It's more of a kind of when a kid is hungry, they would say
お腹ペコペコ.
Onaka peko peko. So peko peko means I'm hungry. Mommy, I'm hungry.
Yeah, like starving. I'm starving.
I'm starving. Yeah. So as you can see, this isn't even 1% of the
I know, right?
Gyongo out there.
There's so
And I should just kind of mention this like one last grammatical point that you shouldn't go crazy learning, but Gyongo are actually, they're divided into 5 separate types of Gyongo, if you want to get really technical. What are those, Ami Sensei?
Hi. The first one is Gyongo, as we said, words that resemble sounds made by inanimate objects and nature, which we already know, like goro goro, like the sound of the thunder. And the second one is Gitaigo. These describe conditions and states of things, as we discussed, like kura kura. And the third one is giseigo. Now, these are animal and human sounds. For example, See if you can guess what these mean. Wan wan. Or wan wan. Wan wan.
Dear listener, do you know what wan wan means? What animal would make a wan wan sound?
Inu.
Inu. There you go. So that's woof in Japanese. Is
Yep.
woof. Okay,
And
well,
then-
let's do another one. What's the next one, Ami Sensei?
Nyang. That
Nyang.
kind of sounds like the English one. Nyang.
Nyang. Nyang.
Yep.
Am
That's
I giving it
meow.
away? That's meow.
Yep. It's pretty easy, I'd say.
That's pretty easy, yeah. So
Okay.
nyang. And then sometimes cats are known as nyangko. Nyangko.
Sure.
So
Mm-hmm.
meows or whatever you call it. What's another one? It'd be interesting to see if people get this next one.
Okay. Kokekokko.
Kokekokko.
Or kokekokko.
Now you've given it away. That's
I
it.
know,
Yeah.
right?
So, what do you think? Of course, it is a rooster
Yep.
crowing in the morning.
Mhm.
Now, the next one may be a little harder.
Gero gero.
Gero, gero,
Mhm.
gero, 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 gero.
Oh, that's
think-
pretty good. That's, yeah.
That's a kairu. Kairu. It's a
Kairu.
frog. It's
Mhm.
a frog.
Yep.
And now this last one, I can't remember what this one is. Go for it, Ami Sensei.
Gao.
Gao.
みんなわかりますか?
Sounds like a bigger animal, doesn't it? Maybe
Yes,
like
gao
Is it an animal? I can't remember what this one is. Is it an animal on a farm?
No, sir.
Oh. Is it a big animal?
はい. Pretty big.
Does it eat grass?
いいえ.
Oh. I totally don't know this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I give up. Anyone there in podcast listener land? Any ideas what this is? Seikai wa 3, 2, 1, hai.
ライオンです.
Ah, lion. Right,
Yes.
right.
そうなん
Yes,
です. Now, it actually, it would be the equivalent of roar. So
right.
you could actually use gao for a dinosaur sound too.
Oh, okay. Gao.
So 恐竜もガオーって言い
Oh,
ま
that's
す.
good.
はい。
So hang on, just to backtrack here, we've talked about gyongo, which is words that resemble sounds. Gitaigo, words that describe conditions. Giseigo, which are basically animal sounds and human sounds. What are the other two?
Okay. Let's not forget. So the fourth one is gyogo. Now these describe movements and motions. For example, noro noro.
Noro, noro. Mm.
So like maybe a sloth, right? Something slow moving. Noro noro.
Very
Okay.
slow moving, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then another one is gussuri.
Mm.
Gussuri. So gussuri is, would describe maybe somebody sleeping very deeply. Like
Right.
gussuri.
Gussuri neru, right?
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
right,
gussuri
right.
neru.
Okay.
Buru buru. Buru buru. Buru buru.
So does that mean, I think I know that one, that means like shivering or shaking?
Right. So if you're like cold, like buru buru. Buru buru. Samui.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
Mhm.
one.
Yep.
And then what's the last type of onomatopoeia?
Last but not least, gijogo. These describe feelings. For example, uki uki, which is pretty similar to waku waku. They both
waku waku and uki
yeah.
uki are kind of the same. I think
Mhm.
like waku waku is excited and then maybe uki uki is more happy, but I don't know. I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're both pretty similar. But yeah, uki
Right.
uki, waku waku. Yeah. And I guess hara hara, right? Could be.
Yeah, hara hara. Yeah, as we said before, hara hara means what is it? You feel kind of nervous or
Mhm,
uneasy
mhm.
or something, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's the train again. Sorry.
Oh, so popo.
Pull again.
So
Bye-bye.
you live like really close to the tracks.
Yeah, we live literally right there. Right by the
So,
tracks.
Ami Sensei, are you on the right side or the wrong side of the tracks?
Oh, I don't know. How do you tell?
How do you tell?
How do you tell?
Do you, I don't know, do you have dinner with a chandelier and champagne every night? Or do you eat, or do you drink one kopozeki every day?
I think that both sides are pretty similar, which is a good thing.
Okay. That's good. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I'd like to think we're on the right side.
Yes, there you go. Positive. That's the way to go. So that's a lot of stuff to remember, Ami Sensei.
I know, but don't worry too much, dear listeners, about remembering the different classifications of all these Japanese onomatopoeia. Most people refer to them as gyongo or gitaigo, and the majority of them have pairs of repeating sound like ira or goro, as we talked about before. Again, don't feel overwhelmed by all of these words. As I mentioned before, the best way is just to learn through practicing daily conversation and lots of listening. If you're exposed to something enough times and you use it enough times, your brain will eventually get the hint and your Japanese will be pita in no time at all.
Very well used there, Ami Sensei. I like that. You will be better. Gyongo is something it's so huge. It's like idioms in English. You know, there's like hundreds and hundreds of idioms and they're kind of hard to learn. But you will pick them up naturally if you get lots of listening practice, if you get lots of exposure to the language, and also if you practice speaking the language yourself. I think that's the best way to do. I think if you sit down with a book of Gyongo and learn them one by one, you'll drive yourself insane, because I speak from experience. I did that. I tried it. It doesn't work. So you'll pick these up naturally. And if you kind of go online, say go on YouTube and watch like a Japanese TV drama, or go on Netflix and watch Terrace House, you'll start to notice Gyongo in conversation in Japan. So just learn them naturally, just through lots of practice and lots of listening. That's what I would recommend. Okay, so what we're going to do, Ami Sensei and I are going to go off script and just talk about actually what we've been talking before in Japanese, so you can get a little listening practice. And if you don't understand everything, don't worry. This is just for fun, just to get some non-scripted Japanese listening practice. So, Ami Sensei, 質問がありますよ。
はい、お願いします。どうぞ。
Ami Sensei の日常生活で一番使う擬音語は何ですか？
いっぱいあるんですけど、一つじゃなくていいですか？
はい、どうぞ。
はい。パパパ。
もう一回お願いします。
パパパ。or like パパパパパパパ。
パパパってどういう意味ですか？
なんかこう早く何かをするときに使います。
じゃあ例えば、アミ先生、これ合ってるかな？例えばね、時間がなくて急いで晩ご飯を作るときはパパパ。
そうまさに今日です。
じゃあパパパ作るね。
パパパってもうだからパパパって作ったからすごい簡単な料理ができたみたいな。
でこれはね、パパパ3つですよね。
そう
パパじゃないよね。パパ料理作るね。
それかパパッとっていう人もいるし、パパパってだからまあどっちでもいいかなっていう。
これから使います。はい、使います。
使ってください。パパパはだからそのね早く動くことで、だからタタタは早く歩くとか、なんか
早く歩く
タタタってこう早くなんかこうちょっと飛びながらちょっと走ってるみたいな感じかな。
じゃあ電車間に合うためにタタタって歩いてた。
そうタタタって走ってったとか、そう階段を走ってったみたいなとか。なんだろう。いいね、
これがいいね。覚えとく。
覚えといてください。アレックさんは何かありますか？
僕はね、やっぱりさっき言ったけど、 東京に住んでるよね。
はい。
もちろん便利なところなんだけど、やっぱりストレスたまるね。だからストレスをたまった時に、もうイライラする。もうイライラ。例えばね、店員の態度が悪いとか。
日本でもたまにいますか？
会社の対応が悪いとかね。僕はイライラする。イライラしやすい人。
アレクさん。
アミ先生はびっくりするかもしれないけど、やっぱりサービスとして日本が一番でしょ、なんだけど、大阪と東京を比べるとやっぱり大阪の方がいい。で、東京はたまに殿様商売ということですね。
それは若い人とか関係なくよ。時々ね、ちょっと年上の人で。 ちょっと態度が大きいみたいな、態度がでかい。
たまに東京で、例えばね、東京は人混みなので、別にリピーターのお客さんは頑張らなくていいので、態度が悪くなる。なんだけど、大阪の方は人が少なくて、店員さんはすごく頑張っていいサービスを提供する。で、あとね、大阪の人はもっとコミュニケーションがいいと思う。ごめん、東京の人悪口言うつもりじゃない。ごめん、怒らないでください。
アレクさんは両方住んでるから、だから、仕方ない。実
はね、東京とロンドンを比べると、やっぱり東京の方がずっといい。だから、東京がいいですよ。
アレクさん、そんなこと言ってたらアメリカ住めないですよ。もう毎日もイライラしちゃう。毎日も全てのことにイライラするよ。
イライラするね。
だから私もイライラって結構使う。
イライラ結構あるでしょ。深呼吸するしかないね。
それが一番大事。
あと
なんだろうね。
最後、ペラペラよく使いますよ。あの人ね、例えばね、外国人の人が日本語を喋ってたら、で僕聞いて、彼めっちゃペラペラだよ。
いやいや、アレクさんペラペラだよ。
いや、まだまだなんですけど、まだまだ修行足りないです。
いや、
もっと日本語頑張りたいと思います。皆さんよろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
And now it's time for random phrase of the week. Okay, so this one is really short, but it's kind of subtle and a little tricky to teach, but we shall try nonetheless. Ami sensei, what is the word?
出た。
So deru or deta means it came out.
Yes.
Literally means it came out or it left. So deru means to leave, to come out of something. So deta, in this particular scenario, how are we using this?
It's past tense, right? And
past tense, right?
And you can use it in situations like if let's say somebody, is known for saying like the same thing every time you see them, or, they do the same thing all the time. Like they're always talking about, maybe like aliens or something. Like
so they could be talking about something crazy.
Yeah.
They could be making like a really bad joke.
They could be, or just repeating.
And it's always the same joke.
It's always the same thing. You're like, "Deta." Like there he goes again, or there you go again.
Here we go again. And then everyone is like secretly mouthing what they're saying because they've heard it so many times before. It's like, deta.
Yeah. But it could be, so, you have to be careful sometimes. Obviously, you wouldn't say it to somebody you just first met or somebody, that you work for. But, among friends, you can like jokingly be like, deta,
but exactly as you said, Ami Sensei, between good friends and family members, and obviously someone you you meet on a regular, basis, and they come out with the same, uncle joke again, or they come out with the same crazy alien conspiracy theory again, or they start complaining about their health or something.
Right.
Oh, here we go again. Detta. So it's funny. I really like this one because it's very simple. I love the way that deru is like one of the first verbs
that you learn.
You'll learn when you're starting to learn Japanese, right? So it's like heya o deru. So I left the room. It's very, very simple movement verb, and yet it has this very kind of nuanced use in a very specific situation. So ぜひ使ってみてください。
はい。
Well, dear listener, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And Ami Sensei, thank you so much for your amazing
いえいえいえいえ。
onomatopoeia lesson.
いえいえ。楽しかったです。
楽しかったね。And yeah, it's like I said before, there's a million of them, but you can learn them. Just practice your Japanese, get lots of listening, get lots of input, and you will learn them naturally. So good luck, everyone. Don't forget to come and have a chat with us on the Discord channel. And you can also learn Japanese in a more structured and more focused way with our online courses. Just visit dojo.learnjapanesepod.com. That's dojo.learnjapanesepod, one word, .com. We've got a hiragana course and we have a travel Japanese course as well. So definitely have a visit and check those out. And that's it. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Remember, keizoku wa chikara nari desu. So perseverance is key. Keep practicing your Japanese, and we shall see you next time. So thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye bye.
またね。